Hello everyone, Vexo here once again, and today's tutorial is about keyframing. Now I hope you enjoyed the last tutorial, which was about basic setting up your composition. Now what I'm going to do now is make a new composition. If you don't know how to do any of these settings, then I would recommend watching my last video. There should be an annotation on the screen. Okay, now press OK when you've got all your composition settings all sorted. Now I'm going to do my keyframe animation on a piece of text. You can do it on whatever you want, such as Call of Duty gameplay. Now I'm going to put a text layer in. You can either press the text button at the top or press layer, new, text, and I'm going to write tutorial, keyframing tutorial to be exact. And I'm going to center it, and how I'm going to center it without actually doing it manually, trying to guess where the center of the screen is, I'm going to press this button here on the right of the percentage, and you press title/action save, and this is pretty much a guidance, like the lines of guidance to show you where the middle of the screen is and where all the different types of areas of the screen are. So I'm going to center this right now, and I'm going to increase the scale. Now to increase the scale, you click on the text layer button and you press S. Now there's a lot of keyframes within Adobe After Effects, I mean shortcuts for buttons, and the ones that you'll need for the keyframing is P for position, S for scale, T for opacity, that's how transparent a layer is, and it's also nice for fading in and out, and another one is R for rotation, so that's how many degrees you want that particular layer rotated. Now for now I'm going to be just keyframing the position. And if you mess around with these integers and the coordinates of the anchor point, and what the anchor point is the main point. This is where, when anything you change, the coordinates will be on that position. So if we move the position right, then the coordinates of this position here will be on this anchor point at the bottom left. Now to move this anchor point, you simply click this tool on the top, or shortcut Y on the right of the camera, and you basically just drag this. Now I'm going to move it to the center so I can scale it a lot easier. Okay, now I'm going to keyframe the position, and I'm going to be showing you how to do it now. Okay, now I'm going to be keyframing the position by pressing P on the text layer here, and if you notice there should be a timer watch on the left of where it says position. You want to click that time watch, and as you can see, a yellow diamond has popped up. Now this represents that you have created a keyframe on that timeline. Now if we go forward in time, let's say 2 seconds, and we mess about with the integers of the position, then you will see that it will make another yellow diamond. These two diamonds represent different positionings of where the text lays. So how the program does this is divides how many pixels it moves to the right divided by how many frames is in that particular time frame. So if we keep hold of control and we click on this time thing here, we can see that all of this was done within 60 frames. So what the computer does when moving the position, it divides how many pixels it's moving to the right by the amount of frames. This gives it a consistent position move to the right, where each individual frame moves the same amount of pixels each time. Now that's the keyframing of the position. As you can see, I'm going to preview it right now to see what it looks like. And because our composition, if we go on composition settings, because the frame rate is at 30 and we've moved the entire animation 60 frames, that means that that entire animation lasts for 2 seconds, as there is 2 30s in 60. Now let's say you want to move that particular text layer in the middle of one of these. Now what you do is go to the 30 frame mark, which is in the middle, and let's say you want to move it down and then back up. You want to move the position. As you can see with these red dots, this shows what it's going to pass through along the 60 frame time limit. So let's just preview this now, and it should go down and then back up, like so. Now if you want to do smooth keyframing, where it doesn't look as choppy and all of the keyframes are not consistent, as in terms of pixels moving, for example, each frame is around 2 pixels each time on the x-axis, then you use something called Keyframe Assistant. Now what this is, if you right click the keyframe, we can see easy ease in and easy ease out. Now if you press easy ease, then the keyframes before and after that particular keyframe will be slowly eased in and out at the same time. So let's press easy ease, and we can see that that particular keyframe has changed to an egg timer. Now what we want to do is apply this to each individual keyframe. So right click Keyframe Assistant, easy ease, and we want to do it on the starting as well. Keyframe Assistant, easy ease. Now each individual keyframe should be now an egg timer. Now when we preview this back, as you can see at the bottom of it, it slows down. It is not a consistent rate. For example, as it gets closer to the middle keyframe, it slows down, and then it then speeds up to the next keyframe. So this is something you may want to consider in doing your editing, as it gives it a smooth look and helps with the overall flow of the video. Now it is not just the position which you can keyframe. You can keyframe pretty much everything in Adobe After Effects. Now you can keyframe the scale. Now to keep the position and the scale on this particular layer, you keep hold of Shift and press S, and you can press Shift and press T if you want, and you do the same process within the scale and the opacity, or you could do it with the rotation as well. So you can tick this scale here and you do the same process. So when it goes to the bottom, let's say it increases in scale, and then when it goes back to the 60 frame mark, you want it to go back to 100. Now when we watch this, not only the scale but the position will be keyframed at the same time. Now let's mess with the rotation. Now we want to go forward at the 30 frame mark once again and go to 90 degrees, and then we want to go back and then go to 0 degrees once again. So as you can see, sorry about that, as you can see, it keyframes the rotation, the scale and the position at the same time. Now the integers on the rotation are a lot different from the other ones. For example, it has the angle on the bottom here, and what this left integer represents is how many evolutions it has rotated. For example, if you type in 1 revolutions, or evolutions should I say, then it will rotate 360 degrees plus the amount of angle which you put on the right integer. So that's something you may want to consider when editing. Now let's just keyframe this opacity. Let's this time start it at 0%, then you click on the keyframe marker, and then let's put this to 100%, and then move to the 60 frame mark and then put it back down at 0%. now we have 4 different sorts of movements on this text layer, all keyframed at once. Now let's take a look at the final product. I know that doesn't look the best, but it is just for the sake of the tutorial. Now you can do this with many things such as effects as well. Now let me go over to the effect panel and let's go to blur and sharpen. Now I'm going to use a Gaussian blur for this particular one, and for the sake of this tutorial I'm going to take the opacity keyframes out so we can see the entire text layer as we go. And this time I want to keyframe the blurriness. Now instead of keyframing it at the top here where the effects panel is, you can press the drag down box here on this particular text layer, go down to the effects, drag down once again, and the keyframes will be down here along with the scale, position and rotation. Now let's say we want to start it blurry. What we need to do, we need to increase the blurriness, let's say to 10. Then we need to keyframe it at 10, and let's put it not blurry at the end. So let's put this integer to 0 now, and we have successfully keyframed an effect as well as physical movements within the text layer. So let's run preview this by pressing numpad 0, and as you can see the effect is keyframed, rotation, position and scale is keyframed. Now you cannot just do this with text layers, you can do this with every sort of layer. So let me put on a solid really quickly, and we can keyframe this by doing the same things as last time. Let's say position, then we move forward, position, take it off the screen, and it will do it the same way. So you can do this with many things, pretty much all the layers and all the effects within Adobe After Effects. So that was a basic keyframing tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later guys. Peace.